We are all connected through shared experiences, and while our circumstances may vary, there is almost always a common thread in our stories. I am Amy Seeman, and these are the stories that connect us. I can snap a mirror selfie of my outfit of the day with full confidence, but the second you point a camera at me, I totally panic. Suddenly I'm questioning everything, like where do my hands go? What kind of face am I supposed to make? Am I attempting to look serious and sexy, or am I laughing off to the side at something hysterical that's not even there? It just feels uncomfortable. But Profeshy has completely changed the game for me when it comes to professional photos. Their photographers instantly make you feel comfortable, guiding you through poses so you never feel awkward. Plus, their playlists always set the perfect vibe the moment you walk in the door. You will be dancing your way through that photo shoot in no time. And if a little liquid confidence helps, Prosecco is served as part of the package. I'm just saying. You might know them on Instagram for their signature pink backdrop, but if bold colors aren't your thing, do not worry. They've got neutral options too. Profeshy was designed to make professional photos painless and accessible with quick turnaround times and sessions as short as 15 minutes. So if it's been 5 years or more since your last headshot, consider this your sign. Book now at profeshy.com. That's PROFESHIE.com. And don't forget to mention a common thread. Oh, hi, friends. Welcome back. If you missed me, I am Amy Seeman, your host of A Common Thread podcast. I took a little hiatus, about 3 months. It was intended to only be about 3 weeks, maybe 4 at the most, while I recovered from surgery. But as with a lot of things, time just continues to move on. And it actually made me pause and reflect on where I wanted to go next with the podcast. I felt like I jumped into something and it got me started. And I am so proud of the conversations I've had so far. And I knew that I wanted to continue them, but I felt like I really wanted to level up the production. I also lost access to the space that I was recording in, not my closet. I still have a home, folks. The closet became, so my idea with the closet was like, I wanted to feel really intimate and cozy, and it did. But what was difficult is I would panic clean the day before a guest would come over. I would have to drug my dog with CBD and lock her in the basement bathroom so she wouldn't bark. And it got really hot in the closet because of all the lighting. And then we're sitting on the floor, which wasn't always comfortable. So I found myself only wanting to wear sweatpants, which just didn't feel on brand. Anyway, it wasn't translating like I wanted. So I decided to just take some time and think about where do I go from here? I am so grateful for my friend Kyle, the owner of Profeshy, which is his beautiful photography studio in the North Loop, Minneapolis. And that is where I am shooting from now. So you will be seeing this backdrop. And I'm grateful for his team that is also helping me with the production of it, the editing. And we are reviving, we are relaunching. One thing I realized is that I'm on my own timeline. I think sometimes we feel like if I don't keep going and I don't get to it fast enough that it's going to miss me, right? Or people are going to forget about me. And I realize that if it's meant for me, it'll be there for me. And sometimes something even better is going to come along. And that's where we're at now. So before I get into having some new guests on, I want to just give a quick update on where have I been and what's been going on with me. I mentioned I had surgery. So for those who don't follow me on Instagram, one, you're missing out. It's at Amy Seeman here. But also, you may not know that I got my nose done. So in November, I had a nose job. I broke my nose at some point in my life. I actually have no idea when. My parents have no idea when. I can't even remember a time I had a bruised eye or a sore nose. I really don't know. The doctor actually kind of thought maybe it was when I was younger because the bones, it was so pushed that he wonders if it was when the bones were softer. But anyway, it's bothered me. If you go back and you look at some old footage, you'll probably notice it if you really look at it. It's one of those things once you see it, you can't unsee it. But it was making me very insecure, especially when it was anything in the selfie mode. I had to have certain angles. I would see videos sometimes of the podcast afterward and I would cringe. And so I went down this road with a plastic surgeon. And what's interesting is every male plastic surgeon I have seen about this wanted to really change the whole tip of my nose. They said it measured masculine. And one of them even mocked it up on a computer so I could see what it would look like. And everybody, all of my truth-telling friends were Amy, I'm seeing way too much nostril. Do not do it. So I backed out, and then it continued to bother me and become an issue. And I had one friend that said, Amy, if you broke your nose at some point, like you might have some internal damage, you should go see an ENT and then insurance will pay for it. And I was like, oh, that's an idea. So I went to Midwest ENT in Apple Valley. Cannot say enough good things about them. I saw Dr. Tolan first. He was incredible, but he was booked out way too far. And I needed to get it done by the end of the year so my insurance would pay for it. So I switched and saw Dr. Bakeman. Now, this is the first, what a blessing in disguise, first of all, because this is the first female plastic surgeon I've ever seen. And I really wanted a female perspective. The other thing about my nose is like, one, it's not great. It's a little pointy at the end, but my son, my 12-year-old has my nose. And I think it's kind of sweet that we're like, look so much alike. So I didn't want to completely change the look of my face. Also with the nose, like if you get it wrong, like this is what my husband kept saying, he's like, you get one shot. Like if you don't like it, there are no redos because then it starts to get real, like Michael Jackson weird. So we had a point. But Dr. Bakeman said, she's like, actually, I think that it measures perfectly for the size of your face. But what she pointed out was just above the ball of my nose, there was some extra cartilage that was making it appear rounder. And she's like, I think if we take out some of that cartilage, it'll just really like streamline and narrow it a bit and soften it. And then she's like, I'm going to give you like a little swoop on the end. Now, I have never looked at someone's nose and thought, oh, they have a cute little swoop at the end. I immediately went to like Cindy Lou Who and got a little nervous. I was like, as long as we're not there, like we don't go that extreme, I'm okay with a little swoop. I think she did the perfect, cutest little swoop. And it looks so much like me. It didn't change my whole face. It just like enhanced some of my features. In fact, a few friends have said that they think it almost looks like I had my eyes done because it opens it up more. Aside from cosmetically, like the confidence that it has given me, my sleep, you guys, has improved significantly because sure as shit, when they got in there and did some imaging, I had a deviated septum. I had enlarged turbinates, which I didn't even know that was a thing. It's like these pockets of air that were kind of like behind my nose that holds like bacteria and can cause inflammation in the body. If you've been here for a minute, you know I'm always talking about how much inflammation I have in my body. So much of that is from my nose. And I can tell my breathing is better. My sleeping is so much better. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night and then can't go back to sleep. I don't feel tired. I used to wake up and I could go back to sleep after the kids got on the bus for 2 hours and then I would still feel tired. That's not happening anymore. So if you broke your nose at some point and you think you have some breathing issues, 100% recommend going to an ENT before you go down the sleep apnea route because that might fix it. Certainly did for me. Very excited about that. So anyway, the healing process was not too bad. I was, of course, bruised, yellow, purple, swollen. I had a crusty blood around the bandage on my nose for a few days. The pain wasn't too bad. One day I did get behind on my meds and woke up and I felt like a bear had ripped off my nose and it stayed that way all day. Like when you get behind on your pain meds, it's just so hard to catch up. But aside from that one day, I was pretty good. My 12-year-old started travel basketball during all of this. And I was like, but if you don't want me to go and like meet the new moms looking like this, totally understand. I can stay home and stream it. He was like, Mom, I don't care. I don't even think you look that bad. I was like, you know what? You are right. Like life goes on. I don't need to hide and wait until I have this big unveiling. Like this is just all part of life. So I showed up with my bloody bandage notes. I had a few kids that kind of did a ooh when they saw me. And that's okay. I just smiled and winked at them and went on with my day. But I have zero regrets. Dr. Bakeman was incredible. Would 1000% recommend her if you're thinking about it.
I have been driving my Lincoln Aviator for almost a year now, and I can still confidently say it is the best vehicle I've ever owned. In the middle of a Minnesota winter, the heated steering wheel, heated seats in the front and back, and the Lincoln Way app that lets me start my car from anywhere, these are absolute game changers. But what really sold me on Apple Autos wasn't just the car, it was the experience. This was the first big purchase I made on my own, and not once did I feel pressured or talked down to. There was no upselling, no gimmicks, just a team that genuinely cares about helping you find the right vehicle for your life and budget. If you're looking for a new car, visit one of Apple Auto's 8 locations and experience a different way of buying. If you get home and you change your mind, they offer a 7-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. Go see them today and tell them A Common Thread sent you. You won't regret it. For years, I struggled with symptoms I couldn't explain. What I now know was the start of perimenopause. My general practitioner missed it. My naturopath missed it. I spent over $10,000 on testing. I tried every supplement Instagram threw at me, and still nothing worked. But I refused to give up because this is not as good as it gets. Then I found Harmony Wellness. One consult literally changed everything. I was in their office that same day, finally feeling seen and heard. I started hormone replacement therapy shortly after, and for the first time in years, I feel so much hope. If you are struggling, please hear me. You are not alone. Your health is absolutely worth fighting for. Schedule a free consultation with Harmony Wellness today and take the first step toward feeling like yourself again. You are worth it. I'm in what I like to call my Pam Anderson era. I am simplifying. I'm trying to embrace my natural beauty. I'm trying to strip down to the basics. But let's be real. I am not Pam Anderson, so I wasn't getting quite the same results. I realized that the biggest miss was in my skin. It was looking dull, tired, a lot of sunspots, broken capillaries, fine lines, wrinkles. Basically, just years of neglect were catching up to me. So I went to Infinite Youth Med Spa, and after a quick consultation, they recommended Moxie plus BBL laser treatments. I've had just one of 3 sessions so far, and I cannot tell you how many people have commented on how much I'm glowing. It's the kind of confidence boost that I don't think I really knew I needed. What I love about Infinite Youth is that they never made me feel like I needed anything. They just listened. They get that we all have our own insecurities, and they help you make the right choice for you without overdoing it. If your skin is feeling tired, if you're looking to simplify, trust me, the best investment you can make is not in makeup, it is in skincare. Go rebuild your confidence at Infinite Youth Med Spa and tell them A Common Thread sent you.
So that was my November. And then November rolled into 12 Moms of Christmas. So I did a podcast with Kelly Gulbranson from Apple Autos. Great episode if you want to go back and listen to that. But we talked about the 12 Moms of Christmas. So I want to give an update on that. What it is essentially is a partnership with Newgate Schools, which is a nonprofit auto mechanic school in the Twin Cities. Students are able to attend for free. They work on restoring cars that are donated by the community. And then they have this program called Wheels for Women that runs all year round. And essentially, if you are a single mom, you make less than $35,000 a year, which is nothing. So hard to provide for a family on that. And you have at least one dependent. You're either working full-time, going to school full-time, or a combination of both. And you do not have access to a working vehicle. You can apply for this program. And then they give out 1 car a month. Well, 12 Moms of Christmas got started when White Bear Mitsubishi, which is a local dealership, heard about this Wheels for Women program, called Apple Autos, Friendly Chev, and a couple others, and said, let's come together and let's, as dealerships, donate 12 cars to 12 single moms. So they did that year 1, it was 6 years ago, was incredible. Year 2, they said, how can we make this bigger and better? And so then they enlisted in the help of some influencers. And I'm so fortunate that I got to partner with Apple Autos on this. This was my 5th year. What I do is I go out and collect goods, services, cash, gifts, and we stuff the trunks. We surprise the moms. We set them up for success in the new year. It is like the most impactful thing I have ever done in my life. And I'm so grateful that I get to do this every year. The challenge becomes a couple things. One, holidays are stressful, especially as a mom. We're trying to decorate all the things, buy all the gifts, wrap all the gifts, bake all the goods, make all the magical memories. And then on top of that, as an empath, especially, I am like absorbing all of the weight of these moms that I get to sponsor and trying to buy the gifts, wrap the gifts, collect the donations. I always unravel at least once, like I have like a full-blown meltdown at least once during this whole month and process. This year was not great in that way. Like I did feel for a little bit, I had about a week where I was spiraling. And I realized that like I need to find this balance where I can support and give this gift to these moms without it taking my own joy away from the holidays. So I asked for some help, which was definitely a turning point for me. And I think it also helped me realize next year where I might need additional support in helping these moms. But it was another incredible year. It was so incredible. Not only did we give them gifts, we gave them experiences. Shout out to DJ Man Mardigan with the Timberwolves. He donated courtside experience and Timberwolves tickets to one of the young boys. Terrene Dermatology came through with $10,000 that we split amongst all 12 cars with gift cards. I had enough cash raised that I could give each of my moms $2,500. Let me tell you what a difference this makes for someone. That is the difference of paying your bills or putting food on the table or not. There was one mom this year. She was so incredible. She came with her mom and they were just sobbing and holding each other. And the mother was like praying over her daughter. And it was like the sweetest thing to watch. And frankly, at one moment when the mom that was receiving the car had been pulled away to do some interviews, her mother, the grandmother, was standing there alone. And I went up to her and I said, "Can I just put my arms around you? Like, how are you doing?" And she said, and she just broke down and she said, "It's so hard to see your kids struggling. And my husband and I are doing as much as we can to help, but we're also on a limited income. I'm in between jobs." And she goes, "I woke up this morning though, and she's a woman of faith. And she goes, I just had this feeling that God was really going to bless my daughter today." So she called her daughter and she said, "Oh, I just still get so emotional." She said, "God is going to give you more than a car today. I just know it." And she said, "Mom, that's silly. Like, a car is already more than I can imagine." She said, "Nope." She said, "You're not going to have to worry about Christmas. You're not going to have to worry about bills. I just know it." And sure enough, she had cash and she had all the gifts and she just couldn't believe it. And what it did is it restored her faith. It restored her faith. It pulled her out of a dark spot. It was a turning point for her. And as I was talking to her, she said, she has 5 kids. And she said at the end of the month, it gets really tight when food stamps have run out. And she's like, sometimes it comes down to a matter of, can I pay my bills or can I feed my kids? And she said her kids are so wonderful. They'll just say to her, "Mom, it's okay. Like, we can just have canned ravioli again. Like, it's not a big deal. We'll be fine. You don't need to make us a hot meal every day." And it just is like, it's so humbling and it gives so much perspective, especially when I think about my 2 kids who complain all the time because I don't buy the good junk food snacks. And here, like, they're just hoping for a hot meal. So it gives so much perspective. Please know that if you are someone who has donated to this cause, what a gift it is. It's so much more than just the material things of it too. It's security, it's safety, it's consistency for your children. If some of them who rely on public transportation, they're like, if the bus is running behind, I'm late to pick up my child. It's also health. So one of my moms from last year, I was thinking about her because she had her diabetes. I remember one of her goals was to get her diabetes under control. So I reached out to her this year and I just said, "Hey, I've been thinking a lot about you as we're getting ready to do this again. How are you? What's new?" And she wrote back and she said, "Amy, I cannot even tell you what a blessing it has been. Her diabetes is under control because she's able to drive herself to the gym so she can move her body. Groceries is another thing that you don't really think about, but when you're relying on public transportation, you can only buy at the grocery store what you can carry onto the bus, right? With your 2 hands. And so she's like, I'm able to eat healthier and buy more food versus eating out because I have the transportation. I want to read you a text message I received from one of the moms this year on Chris. I always give them my number and I said, "Please, I would love to hear from you on Christmas. I would love to see photos of the kids unwrapping. If you're willing, sharing this with me." And I got this message and I keep it saved for days when you feel like you're not doing enough. I love to go back to this. So she said, "Hi, Amy. I just want to send a quick thank you again for helping with all of this and being a genuinely good person. I was completely overwhelmed and yet I could be myself around you. And that was a huge sign to me. I appreciate you so much as a whole and how great you were with my daughter as well as all the time and effort you took out of your own hectic life to help others. I hope you know this will forever be a great memory and story to tell. I have so many things I don't need. I feel greedy. It's a completely different life for me right now, not just because of gifts and this great car, but because all of this came at the worst year of my life mentally and financially. I would have never dreamed this. Thank anyone you have contact with for me again, please. Thank you all, God, the universe. I don't know what or who, but I do know I am beyond grateful. and can't wait until next year to look back and see the growth and change that has happened since. Next year, I will be in the position to help others, damn it. I'd be happy to donate something to other moms. I hope you're doing well in your own personal life, and just know you and all the others have made a forever imprint on my life at the worst time, which made it the very best time. I will send photos. Here's the thing. It's like, I think sometimes there's a misconception on people just trying to take from the government what they can, right? And I see firsthand these moms who are doing everything they can to get themselves out of these situations. Some have escaped domestic violence situations. Some have just lost their jobs and have not been able to get back on their feet. And they want to give back. They want to do more. And it's just such a beautiful thing to witness. So thank you for everyone who has been a part of this year after year. If this inspires you, please know I will be doing it again next year if you would like to get involved. Also, a really great need. So after this year, there was a lot of media coverage around 12 Moms at Christmas, and Newgate schools ended up receiving 400 new applicants from single moms in the Twin Cities that need vehicles. Last year, they only had 3 donated vehicles throughout the whole year that they were able to give away. So the supply is not meeting the demand. If you have a vehicle that you are ready to trade in and the trade-in value is low, please consider donating it to Newgate schools. You can use it as a tax write-off. The students then learn how to do the work so that they can go get employment. And then also we can give this vehicle to moms in need. It is just such a cyclical thing that has such a greater impact. So please do consider that. So that was my holidays. That rolled into Christmas, end of year. And then January came and I decided that this is the year that we put Humpty Dumpty back together again. I have been on this ridiculous roller coaster of just slowly falling apart and cracking at the seams for the last 5 years. And I've tried so many things. I met with a naturopath. I spent tens of thousands of dollars on supplements and testing, and I still just feel off. I just feel really off. And I know now that I'm in perimenopause, even though I was in denial. You could not have told me that when I was 38 and started having the symptoms. I would say, like, do not come at me with that geriatric shit. I am 38, but sure enough, I think it was. Like, looking back, it was. So I know that there are hormone specialists. I went to my primary doctor. I got no answers. I know that there are women now that are really focusing on women's health, but it almost felt overwhelming to just even like pick up the phone and make another appointment and go through this process again. So I delayed. And then finally I was like, you know what? I am doing it. So I reached out to Andrea and Ivy at Harmony Wellness in Plymouth. And let me just tell you, they are a godsend. I, for the first time, feel so much hope for turning the corner. When I went to talk to them, I had just a laundry list of symptoms. And actually, if you look at perimenopause, there are 34 different symptoms that can all be part of perimenopause, which is why I get so misdiagnosed. And so I'm telling them all the things. We're talking about hormone replacement therapy and some options there. And I also was talking to them about my bladder, which I've did a whole episode with my mom about how many times I peed my pants publicly. And even though I have what's called a pessary, it's this rubber circle that you insert with a knob on top, and it helps like close the pelvic floor so that you aren't leaking as much. It's not bulletproof. And I honestly felt like in the last probably 6 months or so, it was starting to get worse almost. So I mentioned this to them and they said, Amy, we have this amazing technology. It's called V-Tone and Forma V. And what it does is you put it in, it's like this little device that you insert, and it pulsates like contractions. And what it's doing is it's tightening the pelvic floor. It's also restoring some of the tissue that's been lost in there. And so they're like, we can help you with this. And I was like, that's priority number one. Because even though I've gotten to a point where like I can laugh it off when I pee, it's not comfortable. It is not comfortable. It happens at the most inconvenient times. Once it starts, I cannot stop it. That floodgate is open. And so I was like, let's do this. This I need for sure. I have done, well, actually, when they went in to do the exam before we started the first one, she's like, you have a minor prolapse bladder, which means the bladder is starting to like fall. If I were to do nothing, this would progressively get worse, and then I'd have major, major issues. So I'm so glad I'm doing this now. I've done 3 sessions. I have a series of 6. I've done 3. We're going to do one more and then decide if I need to continue the other 2 or bank them as maintenance. But let me tell you, in the 3 that I have done, here is what I have noticed. I don't wear my pessary anymore. It used to be like my security blanket where I felt like I had to have it. One time I was out at a bar crawl and I remembered I did not put it in. And then if I've had drinks, it's even worse, right? Like I have no control of my bladder if I have had drinks. So I get very anxious of like, oh my God, I'm for sure going to pee my pants today and I'm on a party bus, so I'm going to be stuck. So I text my mom. I'm like, Mom, I need you to go to the house. I need you to get my pessary and I need you to bring it to the bar. So she comes and she meets me up. God bless my mother. She meets me outside and she's like, she goes, I didn't know how to present this to you. So she had it wrapped in a cocktail napkin that said cheers on it. And then she had it in a Ziploc bag and handed it to me. And she's like, have fun. But that's the point that it got. It was such a security blanket for me. Anyway, I'm not even wearing that anymore. I can cycle at Hotworks and not pee. I walked all around the mall the other day, 0 leaking, 0 accidents. I sneezed and did not pee. I don't know when that's ever happened. So, and that's only after 3 sessions. Women, you do not have to suffer. There are answers. Yes, it is expensive. All their pricing is on their website, so you can go see. It's not cheap, but let me tell you, I'm at the point where I'm like, I am throwing money at it this year. I am rebuilding my body before I'm rebuilding my wardrobe. That will be part 2. But right now I am on this new year, new body, new health, get it under control. So I'm doing that. And then on top of that, I am doing hormone replacement therapy. So they started me on estrogen and progesterone. And then we just did some labs. I've been trying to lose weight for 2 years. I gained significant amount of weight out of nowhere a couple years ago. Again, perimenopause just creeps up on you out of nowhere. And I've not been able to lose it no matter how restrictive I have dieted, no matter how much I've exercised, nothing will come out. Well, when we looked at the results, I have insulin resistance. So my glucose is really high. I am 0.1 away from being pre-diabetic, which I always thought if you develop diabetes as an adult, right, that it's from poor lifestyle. And yet I was doing all of the things and I'm still almost pre-diabetic because the glucose is just flowing through my blood and my body is not releasing it. It is a hormonal imbalance. I started crying when she told me that because it was so validating. I've been thinking oh, it's me. I'm just not doing enough. And to hear that it's actually not me. And that there is a fix for it. So I am going to start GLP-1s. Tirzepatide is the one I'm going to start next week. Listen, there's no shame in that. It's not the easy way out. I have done all the things. They're also finding that there's so many other benefits like brain fog, food noise, addictions. There's just so many benefits that are coming from it. And the key is to go low and slow. If you go too high and too fast, that's when you can develop pancreatitis or gastritis. So going through a doctor or a hormone specialist where they can really help you monitor, eating a lot of protein, drinking a lot of water, all part of the plan. So I'm going to be starting that next week. I'm so excited. We also found through this testing that my testosterone is really low. They don't say normal ranges, they say optimal ranges, which I kind of love, just that mindset shift. Optimal is between 50 to 80 and mine's in the 20s, low 20s. So that explains why low libido, low confidence, but also drive and motivation. And when she said that, again, the tears started falling because I have felt so, and I've gotten on this podcast and done a solo episode and say I feel stuck. I know I am capable of so much more, but I feel stuck and I have such a hard time sometimes moving myself forward. And that turns into anxiety, into depression. I blame it on my ADD. And yet here it's oh, I am deficient in testosterone. So I'm meeting with Andrea next week, and we're going to talk about probably incorporating testosterone in with the GLP-1s. Those work really well together because testosterone also helps maintain lean muscle, which if you're on a GLP-1, you need to be lifting weights. And I'm doing that through BFT, which is Body Fit Training in Maple Grove, and weightlifting gym, and I'm loving that. I was always intimidated by heavy weights, and I feel so safe and comfortable there. I'm actually like kind of feel like such a badass when I start to like really do all these heavy weights, and I'll like show my son at home and my husband. I'll send them videos and show them like how hard I'm working. So I'm on the right track for once. I feel so hopeful. And if you take away nothing else from this, like please know that again, you do not have to suffer. We don't have to suffer through this. We don't. There are so many more resources. The shitty thing is no, insurance does not cover most of it. I do stock up on my HSA and I can use that. But at the end of the day, if we don't have our health, we don't have anything. And that to me is worth investing in. So I'm excited for that new partnership with them. The other new partnership I'm really excited about is Infinite Youth Med Spa. So at the same time I stopped the podcast, I also took off my lash extensions and stopped getting my nails done. I just felt so overwhelmed by all the like time and money I was spending on maintenance. And I just really wanted to simplify. I kind of said I was going in my like Pam Anderson era of just like really stripping back. But then when I really started stripping back, I'm like, oh, sometimes I would catch myself in the mirror and be like, girl, you look old and haggard. So I went to see the ladies at Infinite Youth Med Spa and talked about some skin treatments because I feel like I kind of I don't like to wear a lot of makeup. I feel like I'm not that great at applying it. It's expensive. It takes a bunch of time. I want this like natural glowy look. And I just felt like my skin was looking very dull. Also, like all these dark sunspots started popping out of nowhere and broken capillaries. So I looked red. So I went to them. So what we decided on a treatment plan there is BBL lasering, which does the dark spots and the broken capillaries. And then mixing that with Moxie laser, which reduces fine lines and wrinkles. So last week I had this treatment done on my face, neck, and chest. I have tech neck. Like, you get those wrinkles right there from like looking down on your phone all the time. So I'm excited to do like chest and neck as well. Also, I think like you don't want your head to look like it's detached from the rest of your body. And I do have a lot of sunspots on my chest too. So during the whole thing, I did one treatment and I can already see a huge difference. I'm doing 3 treatments once every 4 weeks. But after the first one, I've already seen like the recovery time is not that bad. Actually, I was a little puffy, a little dry. It looked kind of real flaky. And then it started to get kind of gritty, like dirty almost, like coffee grinds. And it just sort of like sloughs off. And now it's like so soft and it's glowing. And y'all, I'm just excited. Again, I'm like, this is the year we put Humpty Dumpty back together. I'm investing in me. And it's helping my confidence. It's helping me show up better for my family because when we feel good, we do better. Am I right? Anyway, more to come on all of that. You're going to hear, I'm going to have Andrea and Ivy on. We're going to talk about hormones. You'll see more as I share about some of the stuff with Infinite Youth Med Spa that I'm doing. I'm just excited. I'm really excited for where this is all heading. Thank you for being a part of it. It was so sweet. I had like a handful of people reach out and be like, are you doing your podcast again? I really miss it. And that meant so much to me because I've always said from the beginning, if this even impacts one person, if it makes one person feel less alone, if it makes one person feel inspired to think differently or take action, or if it simply brings one person joy because you've laughed along with me, then that is why I am here. So thank you all for tuning in. It's going to start going again every Thursday. If you have ideas for guests or topics, please email me, amy@amyseeman.com. Until next time, stay well, friends.